Hi, welcome to Faith and Love. I'm Love Mo.
I'm Linley.
What are we talking about today, babe?
Today we're talking about expectations.
What about them?
Uncommunicated expectations, being aware or not being aware of you, your partner, your friend,
Unrealistic
your whomever person you have a relationship with, whatever platonic or romantic relationship.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So,
babe, do you think it's important, first of all, to set expectations in a relationship, any type of relationship that it is?
Yeah, definitely. 100% agree, I think.
Why?
Okay, because I think, cause you remember when we started dating, for example, I remember it was maybe in the first week or two that I came up with this list of, what I expect.
The first week?
Why do I always remember our dating stories differently than you do?
First week?
It was probably the first week or second at least. I listed down all these like expectations, it was just like more of what was that? Like what you should expect from him, was that? Like I was pretty much, anyway, point of the story is
it's important.
It is important to set expectations in relationships, okay? Because I think what that does is that it prepares you for success in the relationship, because you already start to limit, or you're already creating what is real and what is not within your relationship. And as you navigate through that, if something comes up and it was not within what you had set as expectations, then at least if it is within what you had set as expectations, then you're not caught unawares, and you start to have all these quarrels or whatever. So I think it really is important, and it just helps you navigate through at least a lot of trouble that can come.
Yeah, I agree. And I think expectations in any relationship, similar to, like, what example can I give? Our workplaces, right? You have a job description.
Exactly.
There's certain things that you have to meet. If you're doing your appraisals, you either meet your expectations, don't meet the expectations, or you exceed the expectations. Yeah. And I think it's important to take that into even the friendships that you have, or the even romantic, especially romantic relationships that you have. Yeah. Because I think for us, I might not remember the first week, but I do know. Okay, maybe you did that because
I did. I did. I think I still have it even on my phone.
I know that I think it was either the first few months where we. You know how we used to have monthly reviews when we first started dating, reviewing our relationship. We used to discuss our goals, and we also had a specific conversation.
Continue to do that.
Yeah. Where we had, I think, a lengthy conversation on what I expect from the relationship, what I expect from you, and vice versa. And I think it just helps us keep ourselves in check.
Yeah.
And having those frequently, and understanding that seasons change, expectations change, as you said, set us up for success, rather than, attitudes being caught, and then you starting to feel like you're drifting away from your partner or from your friend, when really it's just a matter of, communication. Did you communicate what you expect from them? Sometimes it might not be that your partner doesn't love you or doesn't want to be there for you or show you love in the way that you require it.
But they just don't know.
They just don't know.
Right.
They won't know if you don't tell them.
Say it. Exactly.
So, babe, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say on what you, like, the job description part that you said, like how you compared it to the job description issue. Like, when you're getting appraised, they'll appraise you against
expectations.
Yeah. So I think that just helps. Expectations help to measure, like how far you go. Like it's something that will help you. Otherwise, then how do you know that you're making progress? So, because when you sit down, like what we used to do when we'd sit down monthly, it was pretty much checking against those expectations in some ways. Although we're not really calling them that or trying to pull up, but we're pretty much trying to look. Okay, these are the expectations that we set for each other. how are we doing? So I think that's important.
Yeah. So what are one of the key things that people could go about when setting expectations, whether in the friendship, a relationship?
So the first thing, what's the first thing?
It's very important to have honest and candid conversations.
Exactly.
I think that is key, because sometimes you want your partner or you want your friend to be a certain way or to treat you a certain way, but you shy away from communicating that from them, right? And there you're already setting them up for failure, right? But it's very important that you come to them and tell them, you're pretty much just being honest about the way in which you want to be loved, right? So here you're talking about, for instance, your love languages, right? Or even the book that we were reading, Couple Skills.
Right.
Matthew McKay, we mentioned it in
the previous video.
One of our previous videos.
Yeah.
They talk about ensuring you communicate with your partner what their pleasers are.
Right.
So these are things that pretty much give you butterflies, things that make you feel, seen, loved, heard, whether it's a phone call a
Whatever
day,
it is,
whether it's a text, whether it's random gifts. So similar to the love languages, it's important that you communicate the same. So have honest conversations where you don't shy away from telling your partner exactly where you are and what you need them to do, and also what they're not meeting.
Yep.
Thoughts?
First, before I chip in, what have you ever felt like in our own situation when you ever felt that, or maybe you had to communicate something, or you felt to, or maybe I felt to communicate something in an honest way, and then maybe you were guessing, or the other way around? I have one.
I'll give a most recent example, right?
What?
So, for instance, for me, right?
Recent while we're married,
Marriage. Let me take it back to when we were dating. When we were dating,
wow.
No, this doesn't make you look bad. This makes me. When we were dating, my love languages, acts of service wasn't, at the top. Like, I could care less if you want to. I was Miss Independent. I've got it all figured out.
I'm all right.
You actually used to complain that I don't ask you for things enough or at all, or I don't. It's like you don't feel needed or you don't feel useful, right? So I didn't really. Acts of service was really nothing for me.
Yeah.
Now, coming into this marriage.
Oh yeah.
Hey yo.
Like the tables.
Running a house became hard, and I needed someone to help. Right? So coming from a place where I really didn't need, assistance, I had it all figured out. Now coming to a place where, and thing is, when we got married, I didn't even know that's what I needed. That it
changed, yeah.
Right? Because I came into this marriage with the preconceived notion that men don't help much. Culture, I don't think many of us grow up with, seeing our fathers being helpful around the house and all of that. Men are more to be served. You cook for men. The women, do the cooking, do the cleaning, and all of that. Yeah. Right? So I came here, I thought.
You thought that.
Right? Now, to my surprise, you were very helpful, right? Yes. And then now that started like decreasing. And then I started getting an attitude. I would get annoyed if you don't help. I would get very irritated. I would give silent treatments. I would give attitudes. And even at the point where you would come to me and say, babe, what's wrong? Yeah, in that moment, I should now be honest and candid to say,
well, this and that.
I would really appreciate if you were to assist me more in the kitchen or, things like that, right? Because that's honestly what I need as an individual. I need help, right? I appreciate your help. But it's like I wasn't ready to show you that is what I wanted. So I wasn't being honest with myself, first of all, as to what my expectation from you was. And I wasn't giving you a chance to also live up to that.
Yeah. And I remember that situation where I remember a number of times coming to you and saying, well, babe, if you need help, just say it, you know.
Like, no, I don't need your help. I want you to want to help.
You know, and that's the problem, and probably that leads us in some ways into the next segment or the next step. But maybe before we go there, but being honest about what you need and just having that honest conversation with whoever it is that you're in a relationship. It could be your dad, could be your, I don't know, whoever, your friend, and just saying, look, I need this from you in this moment, and and if they're realistic or not, then that's something else. But at least you're honest in the first place, and then you can discuss from there how much it is or how far your partner can go in meeting that expectation. But it's important to at least give your partner the chance
to show themselves.
To know that at least, exactly, to show up and say, okay, maybe I can try. If I can't meet the whole thing, but at least I know that you needed this in that moment.
Yeah.
Cool.
The
second key, I believe, is,
you mentioned it,
being unrealistic. So being realistic, being realistic.
Don't be unrealistic.
So be realistic, or set realistic expectations in your relationships. That is important. I think for the most part, especially if we do not communicate our expectations, it is highly likely that we're setting unrealistic expectations, at least in our heads. It's because I think at least that's what I think. When we don't communicate our expectations and we're stuck in our heads and we just expect our partner to meet our expectations or guess or read our minds, it is very likely that we're setting unrealistic expectations. Because I think when we start to speak out things and you start to hear yourself, you start to hear how silly and how sometimes unrealistic things can be or can get. You do not agree?
I don't really agree.
Talk to me.
No, because sometimes I don't think the absence of voicing out your expectations means it's unrealistic. Because sometimes you're just, like in my situation, I don't think that was unrealistic.
No,
there's a certain sense of, I think, pride or not wanting to show that you need something.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I don't know. Why do you feel like it's...
No, because I think that, especially if you're stuck in your head, and you're not speaking that thing out. If you're not talking and you're not saying it out, I think you start to become self-centered more. And I think the more that it's stuck in your head and you're not communicating it to your partner, I don't know, I just feel like it becomes bigger and bigger in your head, and the more it drifts away from what's realistic, the more it stays in your head and you don't communicate it. I don't know, what do you guys think? I don't know, I just think that. But anyway, setting realistic expectations is important. What do you think?
Yeah, I think for you to be able to determine if your expectations are realistic, you need to first think, why is this so important to me? Why is it important to me that my partner calls me at least once a day? Why is it so important to me that my friend does A, B, C, D, right? You need to be able to determine the root of that expectation. Why do you feel that way about a certain thing? Or why do you feel a certain way when that thing is not done? And also, would you be able to do the same? Do you do the same? Right? I think if your answer is no in that situation, then it's most likely that your expectations are not realistic. But also, even if you might be able to do it, I think it's also important to understand the other party, whether it's your friend, For instance, you're upset that your friend doesn't check up on you, every week or bi-weekly. But this friend could be going through so much at work, could maybe have a newborn, going through their own family matters, but you still expect all these things from them. You're demanding so much from them, but they might not be able to give that to you as much as you're able to give it to them. I love low maintenance friendships, right? Where we understand that there's so many demands, but at the core of it, there's still love. And when we do come together, we're able to,
just pick it up.
But yeah, setting realistic expectations, first of all, dig deep, search yourself. Why is that important to you? And would you do the same? And also understand the other end.
And I think at the core of your analysis, I guess, of your expectation to find out if it's realistic or not, is just the simple question of, is this really practical? Is this really feasible? What I'm saying? Like, I don't remember where I heard this from. Was it a book? I don't know. But this guy the lady expects that the guy will hug her each time they meet. Like, that'll be or each time they see each other. Like,
you remember that?
Do you?
I think it was during our premarital counseling.
Was it?
They told us to list down, I think, the perfect husband, the perfect wife.
Okay.
And on mine, I was like,
yeah, okay. That's I was like, where did I see this from? Like, I couldn't remember. So you expect that you are hugged each time so whether we wake up, we hug. We've just seen each other after work, we hug.
From the kitchen.
Yeah, so like, great, that's an expectation, but how feasible is that? Like, is that really realistic? Do you really think that someone will remember to hug you each time they meet you?
Or not even remember. What if they've had a long day?
Exactly. Maybe they're the ones that want to be hugged, or they just don't. They just, so there's so many things. So you just read your expectations and ask yourself the simple question of, is this really feasible? Is this really practical? Or is this really realistic at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Which is, very important, because setting unrealistic expectations just sets you up for a lot of frustrations when they're not met. Just
to add to that, I think I've just lost my train of thought. I've just lost my train of thought.
It's all right.
I've just lost my train of thought.
You can come back to it.
What did you just say?
It sets you up for frustration.
No.
That's what I just said.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Yes.
So, also, as we're determining, like what you're saying, you might want a hug every day from your partner, but what if they now need the hug? And what if, for instance, they happen to forget? I think it's very key that, we're human, we're selfish. Sometimes we feel as though we're entitled to certain things, and we're not so ready and willing to offer grace to other people, right? We give them such high expectations, but for things that even we probably wouldn't be able to meet. So an area which is not their strongest suit, we're so quick to give up on them, so quick to belittle them and say, oh, but why aren't you doing A, B, C, D?
Yeah.
I think we always need to ensure that the mercy that God shows us each and every single day, let's give the same to our our friends, our partner. Just as merciful as He is to us, let us also be
merciful and gracious to people.
Which brings us to our third key point.
Third key point is
to master appreciation, right? Tap into more appreciation each and every day.
Right.
In as much as we've set expectations for our friend or our partner, and we've made an analysis of whether that is realistic or not, I think we also have to be aware of the fact that, setting expectations, these things might be new to the other individual. It might require some time for them to accept it, to actually process it, to compromise as well, right? And rather than nitpicking the things that they're not doing, the boxes that they're not ticking, how about you start to now recognize the efforts that they actually are making, you know, the actual acts of kindness, the great initiatives towards, you know, watering this relationship to bloom and all of that. Rather than focusing on the things that you feel are not being met, how about you recognize the things that are being met?
Yeah.
I think for you, you have a perfect example for this one.
Do I now? Which one? The one where the time example? Which one?
So there was a time in our relationship, I think either 2020 or last year, I don't remember. But
what happened? Just throw it in and then I'll jump in.
I used to feel as though every now and then it was a constant, I feel like you don't do this. I feel like you don't do this. I feel like you don't do this.
Oh, okay.
Which now like ended up making me feel like,
fine. Okay.
Like I don't do anything. I don't make you happy.
Right. Okay, you can stop. Let me talk from my
okay.
from my perspective. So what used to happen, you're very right. I think I would spend so much time focusing on exactly what we're talking about here, the things that you're not doing or the things that I feel like you're not doing right. And I would just magnify those things and bring them up your face. And what that ended up doing for you and for me too was that is all we could see. And that ended up making you feel like you were what did it make you feel?
Inadequate.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the right partner for you.
Yeah, because
like we should just break up.
Because that's the inevitable result when all you bring before your partner is the things that they're not doing right. That is all they'll see. Like that's the inevitable result. The reality, that's what they're thinking all constantly. So I remember what I did to sort of rewind or unwind myself from that thought was, do you want me to say what I did? So I got this journal some couple of months, I think, or I don't know, months before we got married, like, and it was this, I called it a gratitude journal. So each day I planned to write what I was thankful for you. So I would write every morning. No, I think it was every evening before bed. So I would write, okay, today, Linley, I was thankful for this. So like it sort of started to remove my focus on the things that you were not doing and started to be more thankful on the things that you're actually doing. And I think by the end of the month, even like the atmosphere in our relationship had changed, and you didn't even know it at that time that I was writing that journal. But I think, so focusing on gratitude and focusing on the things that your partner is meeting instead of just narrowing down on you're not doing this is key.
Yeah, but also that's not to say that overlook all the wrong that they're doing and just try to, where the fire is, just try and look for these little flowers that are still surviving. No. In as much as you're working on these areas that, make you feel more loved and appreciated, I'm pretty sure your partner or your friend is doing other things as well, but you're just blind to them because you're so fixated on this one area.
Yeah.
Right? You can still appreciate this whole other side as you're working on this other, one or two little aspects.
Let's fix this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last one, babe?
So the last one is leaving off all comparisons. Comparison kills. I think it's a song by someone. But yeah, if you start to compare your not yourself, but your partner with, I don't know, another person's partner or whatever, and maybe you're seeing that partner meeting whatever expectation in their something in their relationship, and then you're looking at your partner, why is they not doing that? That just starts to create a whole new level of complications, and whatever efforts that your partner is doing, or whoever it is that you're in a relationship with, whatever relationship you find yourself in is doing, will not, at least the effect will not be felt as much, because you're comparing that person with someone who is completely different from themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, comparison, just leave it off. Focus on what your partner is being able to do, and if you're to compare them with anyone, then maybe you compare them with themselves or their past selves and help them grow, but not moving away from them and starting to compare them with someone else.
Yeah. And maybe just to speak to the female audience, I think this is quite common because women talk a lot, right?
Yeah.
We easily confide in one another, talk about whatever issues or challenges we may be having in our relationships, or just to share stories to humor ourselves and whatever, right? I'm not sure if men have the same type of circles. So now what if my friend comes to tell me that, oh, her husband wakes up every morning, goes to prepare her this huge breakfast. Every time she comes home, she finds this huge bouquet of flowers, every day. And then now suddenly you're fantasizing over what Carol's husband does, right? Then you come home to your husband and you wake up, you're the one who has to fix him breakfast. You come home, no flowers. And now you start despising him because it's like, your friend is shown all this love and affection in this way. Why can't you do the same? Right? But you need to understand that not everything that happens in, another individual's relationship will happen in yours. For a number of factors, that might not be his thing. That might really not even be what you want, right? There could be financial limitations in your relationship, and you also know in your husband, you need to be aware of the same and treat that accordingly, right? So yes, you can admire what other couples may have, or admire what other friendships have. Admire them, but not to the point where you literally want to be them. Admire them and get the principle. Get the principle, but don't try to imitate the act. When you imitate the act, you start to harm yourself. Yeah. You could harm yourself financially. You could harm your husband mentally, or yourself mentally, or whoever, right?
Yeah.
Comparison, as he mentioned, really does kill.
And I think, as I said, you're comparing this person, your husband, your father, your whoever, with someone who is completely different. And remember, we talked about love languages, right? Now, I don't know if you guys know about them, but love languages is pretty much how if it's from my end, is how I speak love to you, right? This is how I say I love you, right? And if it's from your end, then this is how I feel loved, right? So so people have different love languages. So you could be comparing someone, for example, the example you gave, a husband wakes up, makes this huge breakfast, flowers, whatever. That's their love language. Your husband has a completely different love language. And it's not that they don't love you, but they communicate love differently. Yeah. But because you're so fixated with what Carol said her husband did, then you now can't even look at what your husband. So going back to the poem that we're doing, you're so fixated on what you would want that you can't even see what he actually does, and then you think, well, I'm in the wrong marriage or whatever. But yeah, so you can't compare people because they're two completely different people, and they could be speaking love in two different languages. So yeah, comparison kills. Don't compare.
So I think, just to sum it all up, expectations, it's good to discuss them.
Very important.
It's never too frequent, right? I think it's very good to have these conversations. You don't have to set a meeting. It could be something casual over a meal, as you're washing dishes, whatever it could be.
Yeah.
Whether it's in your friendships, very important as well, right? Discuss what it is that you require the other person to do. Have honest conversations. Don't shy away from your feelings and from your needs. That would only lead to resentment. But also ensure they're realistic, right? And also ensure that you're making it a point to appreciate their efforts more. Be aware of your love languages, what your needs are. Be aware of their love languages. And kill off comparison. Just let go of it. I think sometimes we feel as though a friendship or a romantic relationship has hit a dead end, but really it's just a matter of uncommunicated expectations. Right? You feel like someone doesn't love you. You feel like someone isn't meeting their end of the bargain, but it's just a matter of sometimes of a conversation, right?
Right.
Just talk to each other.
About it.
Work towards it.
And
be intentional.
Your partner or whoever it is not a mind reader. He or she is not going to guess. If you don't say it, they won't know it. They'll continue their lives the way that they. So you be the one, with all this burning whatever.
Like, why does this person have an attitude? And then they have an attitude because they feel like you're creating an attitude.
So your partner can't read your mind. Communicate what you need from them. Also, from the other end, when your partner is communicating, listen. Or friend, listen. Have a candid discussion about it and see how you both can meet on common ground and meet each other's expectations.
Yep. We hope you enjoy it.
We really do.
And we hope it's helped somebody.
That's the point of what we do. Like.
Comment, share.
The comments have been really good. Some guy was saying I am Nkhalambas. Anyway. Comment. Like.
Subscribe. Hope to see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.